Hello, Liberju. How are you doing tonight? I actually should make you a mod. What do I make you as moderator? New option. Sure, I'll make you this mod. I don't know what song I'm listening to. But yeah. All right. I mean, I have no idea how many. But it's finally a different map that's not SME. On a lot of SME checkpoint. That's your own fault. So hello, ladies and gentlemen, people of the world. We are doing another match review. This one of the past weekend game of 1SBS and R22R. If you have not watched that, spoiler alert, you will find the results in this very quick stream that I will, well, not really quick, but I'm gonna, you'll find the results out. Oh my god, you can go ×4 speed? That's insane. I had no idea that you can do that. But let's get into it. So R22R did end up winning this match. Yes, I'm going to spoil it here right now because I can, because the results are already out there. But yes, this was a fantastic game from honestly both these teams. Even though 1SBS did end up winning and does fall to 0-2, they are still a really good opponent in my personal opinion. And for the first time, I'm going to be doing something different that I probably should have been doing this entire time, and that is actually using an asset of the game, which is the I don't know, like the trainer thing. I also don't know why these panes actually kind of stay up the entire time. At least on the map they do. I don't know why they're glitched on the map, but I'm using that like trainer thing to maybe get some more in-depth analysis on stuff. So when the time comes for it, I will swap to that and maybe describe things more in detail. But as far as the game and us getting into it and talking about it, we will start that right now. So obviously 1SBS, nice layout for them with win 3 or win 73, my mistake, which is honestly the best 4th point that they can get for West Vierville, because you'll see kind of later in the game that they get a ton of this ground that they can still work with if something does happen in their backline. And even if they do get pushed back to win 73, like this is a lot of soft cap pressure that R22R is going to have to like contest for and maintain and hold. It's just something that is very, very tough. But then Church Road for West Vierville, honestly, not that big of a deal. I think both 4th points for the axis for this particular point are nice to have. But we will get into the game right here, right now. I should mute the own stream. So 1SBS was the allies, so we will be more focused on their side of things. But when opportunities do arise, I will swap to our R22R side and explain everything in good detail. So you can see far flanking Puma, very standard from R22R, or basically any other team that likes to do that. Early supply drop right here. I actually don't mind it because I do expect this supply truck build the garrison there. Probably go down here, build this one. This one will probably build something right there. Then go down to this and maybe have like a backup one somewhere right there. That's what usually I would do. R22's garrison lineup, it's basically like that. There's really nothing to it. I think 1SBS did have a Greyhound on the far southern part of the map. You just couldn't see it because of the map key. So they do have just one guy rocket sniping. Kind of just follow them in. I think the Stewart was trying to do some wall snipes on the run, which is honestly kind of weird. Yeah, you can see him trying to do... I don't know why they're shooting, to be completely honest. I thought that was a little bit of a weird play. Very early rocket. This was a valid rocket. Actually, I'm gonna switch to that right now. So for that rocket snipe, in my personal opinion, I'm not quite sure where you were trying to hit, to be completely honest with you. Because you hit the top of this building. Honestly, you want to hit somewhere, if you are going to try to go for a rocket snipe, is either try to hit somewhere right here in this sector, and then either try to hit right here or somewhere out of bounds right there. Those are like the two most likely. This is probably the most likely route that teams take, is out of bounds, just because it's a lot cleaner than this. And I think you gain more, like a second or two more by going out of bounds, because if you go this way, you have to go back up, and that does waste a second of driving. But other than that, valid effort for that rocket snipe. Or coming in. This was a good one, but you did like hit that that shedded area. But I think a good spread from both teams. I think both teams dedicating the resources accordingly, at least for up here. If you're one SBS, you really have to push this building and this building to get to this one. Just because they are going to set their OPs. Where Splitity is going to set that. Probably going to set one back here. So you really want to make sure you really gain control of the ground, because you do have numbers advantage. You just didn't take advantage of it, unfortunately. Just making sure my mic is on. Yes, it is. And then, not sure why someone's playing Rifleman. I understand the grease gun sucks. But, you know, get a satchel on this wall if you can. Get a satchel on this wall. You know, that's just really, really nice to have. I do love that Lux position. It's a very strong position. Even though it's not holding a lot, just holding this doorway or the broken wall is really good. I'm not quite sure where the Stuart went off the start. Unless I do flash my map. Artillery coming down right here. It's good. I would probably switch between right here and right here. That was one SBS. R22R already hitting. I think that was an AT gun. I love the early game AT gun by one SBS. And we had this dumb shit happening in the south, or on point. I mean, these tanks are playing it right. Like, if you're this Stuart, you want to be holding this because it's an easy doorway. Then your infantry just have to focus on this wall. So both tanks playing it perfect. I don't know what the fuck this song is. The 1SBS does have control of the north. Obviously, match will go down here. Now, if you're 1SBS, you have, with this control, in this north control, because Viking probably wiped out an OP or two, you have to push down south. You just have to push down south. You just have to. Because if they would have came down south and crossfired all these guys, 1SBS takes the point. But you still need to maintain presence in the north. You just can't give that up for free. What R22R did really, really good here is hold that southern building. I don't know why you're getting out to repair a Luke's tank, to be completely honest. Unless you were engined, there's no need to hop out of this tank at all. Especially as the TC. Like, if you're gonna have someone hop out, have the driver hop, or have the driver hop out and repair. But I feel like this is just a waste because you are cap weight, and if you do go down, which you do end up going down to artillery or grenade, it's, you know, the garrison's still far away. It's a, you know, 200 meter run, 250 meter run. But R22R doing a good job to, you know, send some guys up north to help support and maintain at least some sort of presence up there. 1SBS in the south, this, like, you need more than just this SL putting pressure on this sector of buildings. I think that's something that, you know, they have to do. Like, obviously they're trying, but that early game wipe did set them back. And then the Stuart dies to AT. They did kind of sneak through. And now basically it's just 1SPS having hard camp with some sprinkles of infantry in the north. Because now they're being contested back up in the north. As well as they're getting pressure onto that church. Alright, so take a look at the map from 1SPS. Only 4 garrisons, so I'm not quite sure where the... I think they might have dropped a box here for more rep stations, and maybe right here too. I assume that's probably where both boxes went for those rep stations stuff. Like Jay's OP, it's a good flanking OP. Would probably prefer to be down here more, but that is a-okay. Yeah, only 2. I think well, there's only 3 SLs on here. I think that's a little bit of an issue. Because you only have 1 OP active in the north, and it's not even N's OP. And you only have 1 tank on the board. I assume the Greyhound down here lost the fight to the Puma. First 76 is called in. I think I do hear shots of the Puma. So this is a good play from R22R. Having this Puma back here. Just trying to, you know, suppress and maybe get an early pick onto this medium. As well as he did drop an SL back here. That is important to note. Honestly, if you're that SL, you don't really want to be running around that much as you are, because, you know, you can't place your OP yet until, you know, you cap mid. I understand you might be wanting to get into a certain position to place your OP, but it's better to, you know, work your way up towards that than to not. Really good play by this AT player. Like, if you're gonna... This is one thing I should also mention. Like, if you're gonna be in this position, throw grenades in the wheat. I'm not sure if you did not have any grenades. Maybe you didn't. But honestly, just, you know, toss grenades into this wheat field. You know that OPs are going to be, like, in this, you know, area for the most part. Just, you know, toss a grenade or two. Maybe you get a kill off of OP spawn. There is an OP against, you know, this house. And then you might as well just run all the way to this bush, because you just never know. Obviously, they spawned off this OP. So, obviously, hindsight's 20/20. You're not going to get everything right. It is important to know, because if you would have wiped that OP, you know, would have been sitting pretty, but, you know, Artie's already dialing on those OPs anyways. So it's not the biggest issue in the world, but it is something to note maybe for the future. Maybe artillery is going to have to be shooting down here, because you can see 1SPS Artie is focusing in the south. You know, obviously, R22 Artie focused in the north. 1SPS losing north control does kind of suck. They are bringing up a heavy tank. No backup garrisons quite yet. I honestly always want to build 1 to 2 backup garrisons no matter what, even before mid-cap is complete. At least 1. You at least want 1 defensive garrison, just in case, you know, they do bomb 4th point off the rip. We've seen that numerous of times, even from Division 1 teams against each other. They have, you know, bombed 4th point very quickly after mid-cap. Even though this is a more longer mid-cap than normal. Good play there from Sub-C, getting 3 kills. Not a bad bombing run, just a little unfortunate that the bombs went this way and didn't go over this wall. That's just unlucky, to be completely honest with you. I'm also really confused of why they're using that for a light tank. Because honestly, I would have probably maybe drove up the medium, but there is a Tiger on its way. Cap does go up. I don't think I really look at the map to reset OPs, but I think some of their squad leads did not reset their OPs. Actually, I can speed this up because 2.5 speed. Let's go to 3. I meant to pause it. It's a rep station that did blow up. This this is one thing that sucks about the allies is they don't get a really good vantage point to, and it's access to some degree, maybe not so much. Like the tank play on this point in particular, and kind of a lot in Omaha, maybe not so much in the far south with AA battery. I think that's what it's called. I have no idea. This tank spot is just like it's very hard to play armor for the mid of Sumer and West Vierville. It's very weird to play early game armor. And I don't understand why this is already a tier 2 barricade. Obviously you want to probably get it to tier 3, but I just find that to be really odd that a tier 2 barricade's built that quickly. And then as you can see, R22R with a very early game airhead. And then obviously 1SBS getting a reset back. But here's the issue is obviously R22R or 1SBS is falling back to help defend. They did get a garrison back up here, but I think that might go down soon. I don't quite remember. But all of this soft cap pressure is negating everything R22R is doing. If I was R22R in this situation, I would have sent probably 8 more people, because I mean it depends on the chevrons, but I feel like the chevrons have to be really good. Like you have to be 3-1 at West Vierville. Someone has to call that out, like, hey, we're 3-1. You know, maybe people that are outer sector, maybe like back here in like E4 or whatever, even like in F5. Obviously you don't want to send everybody in F5 because you still have a war going down here, but you know, send more people back over here. Only send what you can send though, because if you overcommit to it, it could bite you. Because you have good cap pressure, like you are capping the point, but you know, I would maybe have stayed more in the hard cap to force 1SBS to really fall back, which at this point they're kind of in a panic mode. Like the tanks are turning around. And no, and here's like thing like you do have to notice, if R22R is getting picks on like all of these guys like running back, that has to be a call like, hey, they don't have a backline garrison, we need to like send the point. But 1SBS does a really good, or even rocket sniping, which is I think amazing to see. But you are half capped like at this point. Also, what the fuck was that bombing run? I don't think that was a 1SBS bombing run, was it? Yeah, this was... What the hell? What was this R22? Liberju, I don't know what this bombing run was, but this was very odd. To be completely honest with you. Because, like, I understand, like, you have like 6 guys right here, but I would honestly prefer to... Yeah, I understand that. I mean, they have a garrison. Like, this is dangerous as fuck right here. So dangerous. I understand, like, you have this, but I personally... Like, if the tanks aren't being an issue, your infantry should maintain this. I don't know, it's kind of like in the moment kind of decision. Because I'm pretty sure 1SBS actually gains, like, all this back fairly quickly after this reset. Honestly, I would have preferred if you would have bombed this garrison right here, because this was the main fallback garrison. Because if they have to fall back on this one, they just can pick off this hedgerow. Like, these 2 players just pick off that hedgerow. Yeah, then the medium comes back. If you're Germans, you gotta make sure you have at least a bunch of AT players. They get 1 in the side, but it's pretty much it. Medium kind of just cleans up house. And kind of by this point, if you're R22R, if you have to send people back to hard cap because, you know, you are getting killed inside the hard point, even though no one died in the hard point for R22R. But unless you just have like an SL up, you know, just one SL in the back lines at win 73, then just chill. Just chill. It's going to be very jittery. I know. I really don't care about your motion sickness. Actually, I am going to slow this down because I'm getting motion sickness. I'm going to slow it down the back to 2. Alright, so for 1SBS, it's not, you know, you're still in an okay position. Obviously, the south right here, triangle, which I talked about throughout the stream, is the main control point of West Vierville. Like, yes, there's this wheat field right here, like that, you know, allies will be always pushing through, but you need to have, like, control of this if you are the allies. More so than the Germans, because if the Germans control that, it's very hard to gain that back. You have to do more of a southern push, and even then that southern push sucks. I like this tank position a lot. I think this is one of the strongest positions to be in a 76 because you can build rep stations along this wall back here. Because they're out of like range of the or not out of range, out of sight of the enemy armor. This tank, I don't know why this Tiger is pushed up this far, to be completely honest. I understand that, you know, there's a 76 here and you want to get that first early pick. But it's still, you know, 20 minutes into the game. It's a very big risk to lose a heavy tank on this point in particular for the Germans. More so for the Germans than the Allies, just because the Germans can get caught a lot easier if Allied or if their armor tries to push towards 4th point. There's also more places to hold in the south down here than the Allies can. I just think this was a mistake positioning wise. Again, I would have built rep stations right here for 1SBS, just behind these hedges. Just because they are protected for the most part. But they do have guys repping. Like, it's just a weird position for a tank to be in, and then they do end up going down in a few seconds. There it goes. But this is good to have, you know, guys pushing through the wheat. I would like to see more smokes from 1SBS, because honestly, like, the wheat doesn't do it justice. Now, this was a blunder from this medium. Such a blunder. You had the first 2 shots and you just didn't get it. Like, that honestly would have been amazing to have, but just a little bit unlucky. A little bit unlucky. They are building rep stations, which I do love. I love this. Very smart for him to fall back. Just because, like, you know, if a tank is usually going to push in that position, and if you even just look at the map, when these OPs light up this tank, probably it's like, hey, we're going to get satcheled in the next, you know, 30 seconds if we don't move. So it's a smart thing to move back, let your infantry frag out the infantry, trade out. You have another 76 coming, you have a Stuart coming. Again, you don't have triangle, you need triangle. And I'll kind of show you guys why triangle is very important real quick. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, this is, oh, if I can't do it, I do have input delay. This is basically the triangle that I talk about, is basically this right here. The whole thing is triangle. That is very weird to manage. You want to maintain this part for sure, just because it is really good. It's like basically the only axis to contest this at all, unless you really want to flank from behind. I mean, it's smart to do that from behind, but you're going to get hunted down consistently. There's only so many places you can hide your OP or your garrison or half track. You do want to get this because, yes, you can get on top of this roof and shoot this way or shoot in the south if you're Germans. But it's just very good to control this, just because it's the easiest access to contest these buildings. Back to this. So, try the same airhead. 1 SPS was on top of it. There's nothing wrong with that. First airhead was a good success, but... Oh. Fool me once. Shame on me. Fool me twice. Shame on you. Maybe it's the other way around. I have no idea. Again. One thing that you can do is, if you are Axis, build an AT gun here, and I'll kind of show the proper angle for that. Is I think we did this, or I wanted to do this against Taco in the, I think it was Summit semifinals. And if you build an AT gun like right here, you can challenge the tanks that were in that wheat field. Like obviously you can move it like around like a few spots. You know, you can challenge the tanks that were in this wheat field the entire time. Like you do have, you know, some slight angles. Obviously there is that building in your way, but you know, the tank's kind of like, you know, chilled right here for a very long time, even pulled up to, you know, right behind this little shed area. So it's a good idea just to build that AT gun in this sector right there, just in case armor does push up. Because 1SPS did that the entire game, and you do have like a half decent angle. It's not the best, but it's, you know, something that usually teams don't expect. I love this airhead by 1SPS. This is a nice prepped airhead spot right here. Just threw a grenade on it. It was actually a hell of a toss. I don't know who tossed it, but that was a really good grenade. Like, these two guys are lost in the sauce about it. I think it was Splitty that got the airhead, but nice airhead, just didn't work out. But I think you guys for 1SPS did it one too many times. Do like the smokes. I just like, there's like a fuck ton of people up here. That, like, this is not okay to have if you're 1SPS. That is way too many guys. You realistically only need like 3 guys up here, maybe an MG, maybe the sniper, maybe an SL, maybe have their SL, like 2 SL OPs, and then like 1 back there. That's just a lot of manpower that's just kind of being just wasted up there. You're not really doing too much. Maybe the AT guys were trying to build AT guns up there. I have no idea. But you do need to help out your infantry challenge this. Like we saw towards the end of the game, use MGs in this window, please. I think this is where Board goes on a absolute tear. I think he kills like 10 people. And this is just being a smart player. You know, I think staying alive is, it freaks out players in this area more than you trying to like go out and kill them. Like, he gets like a few quick kills, gets another, and then just hides. Like, that's just a smart play, because what that does is it lets like Hero and all these guys take some ground that they might have lost, because all these guys, look at Wink is looking this way. He's trying to find this guy. He's wasting Wink's time by trying to search for him. He dies. He dies again. This guy dies in the bush. I think that's where his OP was. But he's just wasting people's time. Like, that's what you need to do. Like, the more time you can waste as a solo player, the easier it is for your guys to push up. Occupied. Like I said, I will go back to this again of where these tanks are. I have it on my second monitor where this tank is. This tank is like roughly like right here. If you place an AT gun right here, you can get some clean shots of where those tanks are like kind of positioned, like kind of all on here. Now obviously that White House does get in the way, but you know, this tank could be threatened by an AT gun way over there. Unfortunate flamethrower death. But like, you have this tank right here, this tank right here. If you have an AT gun back here, you can challenge all of this. Obviously, this house is in the way, but you know, it is something. You can even just build it in the middle of this field for all I care. Honestly, I don't feel like teams expect an AT gun in this field, to be completely honest with you. I feel like no team expects that. But I think you guys did build an AT gun on the main road. That honestly stayed up longer than it should have. Again, Tiger going to the north. I'm very indifferent about Tigers going up in that north spot. This was a good bombing run. Wipes out some guys and some garrisons, some supplies, rep stations, all the juicy stuff. Unfortunate. I honestly would have placed a satchel on this hedge. Like, obviously you try to take your opportunity to place it on the tank, but you know, if you put it on this hedge, you damage it, get a few guys, and hey, maybe you get the maybe you do get some, maybe you get the kill. That's a very lucky 76. This 76 should honestly be dead, to be completely honest with you. AT gun. It's not a bad Tiger spot. I'm not sure if he shot his rockets already, but if he didn't, I'm kind of disappointed. Honestly, I feel like when tanks are this close with infantry, like, pushing against these hedges, this is just a bad tank spot to be in because, you know, all it takes is you to get AT'd twice and you can't move, and you're just a sitting duck then to get satcheled. Yeah, like, even then you die. Bush campers. I mean, they're just trying to push the point. Can't really be camping in bushes if they're on the attack. But, like, if you're 1 SBS at this point, you have to realize, hey, we just killed, you know, we're up on armor. We have a third, I think, 76 on its way. AT gun is somehow still up. I think they have AP loaded and just splash the point. Like, if you have 376s, like, 1SPS has to, like, push front door, like, super hard. And I just don't think they did it in the right way. But they are starting to do that now. I just feel like their manpower is just maybe a little bit too spread out in the south. Again, AT gun, not in a bad spot. Just trying to hold these tanks at bay. I think they do go down here eventually. Yep, they do go down. I don't know what kind of dubstep I'm listening to, but it's banging right now. Alright. If you're 1 SPS, I think your airhead is off cooldown. Here real quick. Just a kind of pinpoint of where I would call in an airhead. Now, one thing that I like to do with airheads is I like to support a push. For 1 SPS, I'm gonna use blue because it'll be easier. You have guys like, let me go back. Yeah, so you have guys like kind of spread out like this around the point a little bit, right? Guys spread out right there. You basically maintain this main house, this main 3-story. So you have all this. Oop. Drop the airhead right here. That's all you need to do is drop the airhead right here. Like, yes, it's probably going to get RD'd, it's going to get called out. But if you drop the airhead... That looks like an airhead right there. usually would say drop the airhead right here. It's just a lot easier to destroy because they can, you know, come through the house, see the airhead right here, or see the airhead spawn and farm it, or destroy with grenades or a rocket. Same thing can happen right here. You know, it'll be harder. It'll be really easy to destroy. If it's back here, you have to like go through all of this and maybe get a Hail Mary grenade over this house. Just a lot, you know, harder to destroy. So like, just drop the airhead right here. It's a support airhead. It gets some spawns. You know, it's easy access to the 3-story into hard cap. But I'm pretty sure they dropped the airhead behind enemy lines, which, in my opinion, it was a little bit of a waste. I think that does happen. I'm not quite sure. Tank in the south, I don't disagree with that play. But again, like your armor pushing up right here, like garrison right here, obviously. But, you know, armor in the north, armor pretty much on hard cap. 1 SBS just flooding in. R22R doing the same thing. You're half capped. Drop the airhead back here. Artie's coming down in the typical spot that you want Artie to come down in. Huge garrison spawn, but, you know, that would have been negated, honestly, by this airhead if 1 SBS did go all in. You know, it's just teetering back and forth, and it just, you know, comes down to, you know, who's winning the fragging fights, and R22R just got the extra kills that they need to maintain their spot. I think that's a 1 SBS bombing run. I don't disagree with that airhead because you want to maintain church. Missing a full armor crew. But 1 SBS, you need people in this church to maintain this. There's always going to be people by this broken wall. Hard to get to, but, you know, you do need people in church to fight this. At this point, though, R22R is basically on a full reset. I would have went north to south because usually they're going to build the garrison somewhere in the wheat right there or right there. Those are the two most common spots for for garrisons, or sometimes back here in the house as well. But, you know, if you just did a north-south airhead this way, that looks like a banana. If you just did a north-south airhead like that, I think you would have gotten more kills and maybe got even some, maybe the garrison spawn, even though it's right there. I don't like this. This tank is playing super aggro, which I love. I just think he played way too aggro. I mean, he is splashing, protecting himself. Just 1 SBS infantry is just laying them down right now. It's unfortunate. I would have honestly maybe, instead of going this far, put the tank right here instead of right here. Just put it right here. That way you still have access to this, and it's harder for you to get satcheled and AT'd. Your 1 SBS, just place the satchel right here. I do love this Belgian. Really good, really smart play for this Belgian gate, just to maintain in case you did get pushed back. I don't mind the barbed wire. I feel like, how do I explain it? I understand the barbed wire. It just doesn't, I don't know. It's a hit or miss for me. I just find it to be a little bit more useless than useful. Just because both teams can just, like Draven, just walk around it. Everybody's just walking around the barbed wire. So, like, is it useful? Yeah, but it's also, like, it's kind of just useless. I mean, there goes the 76, though. And then this kind of, with R22R taking the north, they can just collapse back down south, wipe some OPs, and then defend a point. I don't understand how little QC just runs across the field. But R22R doing what 1 SBS should have done when they had the north control is collapse back down. This is really good from them. But at this point, our 1 SBS infantry is just getting completely wiped. Like, you're seeing basically 80% of the team of R22R on your screen. And if you're this tank crew, like, you have to, like, look at your map and realize, like, you're just in a fucked position. Like, you have no infantry. That guy just flew across the screen. Look at this shit. Jesus Christ, dude, that is insane. Oh my god. Honestly, I wish he would have done. I find this hilarious how there's mines on this tank. I find this hilarious that there's mines around this tank, and like if he does not die, I'm pretty sure he dies to this mine. Like that would have been hilarious if he died to an AP mine by a tank. I don't understand why there's a transport truck right here. Maybe you thought it was a supply truck. I don't know what's going on there. But 1SPS losing all of this ground now, which is unfortunate. Trying to different airhead. I like it. You know, you have 700 manpower. You might as well use it. Encourage is up, so you have a lot of manpower. Garrison needs to go up down here. Probably switch back to green. Garrison needs to go back down here. Other than that, really nothing else. Like, you're doing an okay reset. You just need to pressure back onto the weak. Really nothing too much to say. You do have an R76 on its way. Okay. I don't know what I'm saying in the stream. I'm saying something. I'll be just trying to build another red zone. Yeah, this airhead's gonna go. It's very common. Tank doing a good job trying to stay alive. I'm not sure why the MG guy is shooting his own tank with an AT gun. Because if you're this tank crew, you are just like freaking out. Battle doing a good job of getting the garrison, but does get refragged. Garrison will probably get rebuilt in a few seconds. There's Liberju rubber banding in a supply truck because the servers were not doing the best game. More fighting going on by Triangle. Yeah, R22R are doing a really good job. If they can push up here and wipe out this, there's very little chance, like if you're the Axis and you control this, switch to red real quick. If you control this, if you're the Axis, there's no shot that 1SPS will get that back. It's very rare that a team will get that back. It happens. You probably will get it back, but it's very annoying to get back. Because what that does is, if the Axis does get control of this, they can just send their Tigers up here and defend pretty much on these hedges then. If they, you know, push them back off of this this hedge as well. But they can, you know, push up to here and then maintain, you know, more border control than, you know, staying back in the orchard. Like, if I will say this, if you're this Tiger, I don't understand why you want to go in the wheat. If I'm being completely honest, the wheat's always a death sentence for most tanks. Being shot by AT. Like, I understand you have like a good thing going, a good push going, but you know, you are exposing yourself. I think you do die to a, yeah, you do die to a 76. Like, if you would have pushed map edge and held this up here, like maybe the Stuart comes by, but it's a solo Stuart, so it's not gonna be that effective. But just having the presence, rookie crew, yeah, it does. It's still though. It's just, you know, I'm here to help. Like, if you just would if you would have just stayed up here and just held this, like, just having like even like sitting like right here in the middle of the field, like even like back here, like you're a threat, like, because teams are going to want to try to kill you and get you off the board. But you're such a big threat that a lot more eyes will be focused on you being on this border, that your infantry can come up here in the north and outfrag all of you, wipe some OPs, and wipe out this garrison. And you know, if you couple that with a bombing run, you can gain that control. Like, and I think that's one thing that teams also don't do, is they push or they use bombing runs for map control. Because what I see a lot is you use bombing runs to, you know, help defend a point, mostly on the hard cap sector, or you help attack the hard point on the cap sector. I feel like, you know, that would have been a good use of a bombing run in that situation, because they did not have that many bodies up there in the north. Obviously, R22R is still trying to push up there and maintain that. But, you know, if you just use the bombing run up there in the north, all those guys are dead, and R22R then claims that. It's also smart to use bombing runs for, you know, getting that map control. One thing I do not like is... Actually, I have to look back up north. Good tank position here by this tank crew. I love that. It's a very safe spot. Pause right here. I look back. All right. Maybe I'll talk about that a little bit. The 1SPS doing some good back cat pressure. There's a Greyhound in the back line. I think this Greyhound gets popped by a tank. Yeah, he does. One thing that I did not like was a few minutes ago, if I want to go back to it, was all these guys down here kind of pushing through this wheat field. I don't really like that, because if you look back up here now, like, you're getting pressure from the south on this wheat field. There's kind of no need to really pressure this wheat field. What I would have done, and what I think most people should do, is just maintain kind of like this crossroads right here, and kind of not really camp and sit, but like hold it so like you have guys that can push back up north. Because now what you do if you don't do that is you put yourself in the crossfire and or lose all this wheat. Because like if these guys, or even, you know, some of the guys that went into this wheat field, like helped up north, you guys probably could have, you know, took the north. But 1SPS is doing a really good job. You know, I think they're pretty much on their back foot at this point. Like, this is probably kind of as bad as it gets for them until towards the end of the game, when they have to kind of send in the all-in. Again, like, a lot of 1SPS spawning in this north. If you're 1SPS, I would have placed like OPs back here, just so you don't have to keep running, because I see like 2 SLs are running from this garrison. Usually when that happens, you're just placing your OPs a little bit too aggressively, and they're getting burnt fairly easily. If you just have like OPs in harder to reach spots where they have to use a grenade to destroy them, or, you know, cross an open field for a few seconds, that's more worth it than not. Yeah, 1SPS. I think I even say that they're like forming like a cone around their own hardpoint, and that's something you really don't like to do. Like, if you're 1SPS, you kind of want to have like more so something like this, and it's more so like you want to have like that, and they're like at this, so like that's like a big 200-meter difference. But again, we are like over halfway through, so a lot has, you know, developed in the game. Blows have been exchanged. Attacks and pushes have happened on the respective attacking points for each team. If you're 1SBS, throw smoke grenades. Throw smoke grenades. Because trust me, the wheat field only does so much. B player doing a good job. Roam in the back lines. Gets an OP, gets a garrison. We'll kill this MG. Not quite sure why a rep station's an odd spot for rep. But it is. At least it's on the field. Again, airhead coming down. Decent bomb run, just a little bit missed time with match. Knows exactly where it's at, exactly where it's going to call it out. Just a second on that spawn wave may have been the difference of this airhead going off or not, because OP5 did end up going down and already hits these players. So if match died to that bombing run, we could be having a giant spawn wave right here instead. But obviously hindsight is 2020, just, you know, a little bit unlucky there for 1SBS. I don't mind a flamethrower playing this hedge right here because you can just lock down these two entry points. Because no one's going to walk in fire. But you'll die to Artie anyways. Lots of rep stations built for 1SPS in the suite. The music's not. Are you going to place a proxy satchel? Again, this is what I mean for 1SPS. That your OPs are being a little bit too aggressive. Like your OP... Yeah, where exactly where... I think it's right here, right? Yeah, it was back here. Like, you think that's okay because it's, you know, not against the hedge, because, you know, a lot of, like, newer players and even some comp players today place their OPs, like, basically on the hedge, thinking it's safe when, you know, he thought he was probably safe, but you have to realize the distance between this and this. Like, if you have to, just mark it out. If you would have placed it back here, this OP would be fine. Obviously, he does place the satchel down, and it will burn the OP then. But, you know, I think that is kind of the story of this game for 1SBS. Is I think, you know, one reason why they did lose was because their OP placement was not the best. Obviously, you know, maybe going into next week for them, they'll probably maybe improve on that. Hopefully, they do, because like it's those little things that, you know, really can turn a battle. Because if that OP, you know, stays up for, you know, another 5 minutes and he floods that 6-man OP, you know, they can maybe gain some ground off that OP, and then, you know, 1 OP becomes 2 OPs become 4, and then maybe you have like a, you know, 276 to help you push, and now you have the 3-story control. It's just like those little things slowly develop into those bigger, you know, push plays that you do see. And it could all be due to 1 OP just being placed at the right spot that's just out of reach of a player on a hedge. I do like how 1SBS is crossing the field, though. This is something you have to do. Just makes more eyes, you know, away from all the action, because like if only one guy, if Schmidt is up here in this bush and, you know, he just basically watches all of this, you know, that's all one person has to do. But if, like, you know, there's a bunch of smoke, R22R probably has to bring maybe a few more bodies up there just to maintain that control in the north. Tiger on the main road. I do not like that whatsoever. This might be the noob crew that Liberju was talking about. But, you know, playing this half wall, just peek between these hedges. Rep station should be up already over here. There's probably got destroyed or keep getting destroyed. So, you know, no harm, no foul. Just, you know, adjust that tank to right here. Just because if you're on this main road, you are just asking to die. Again, pushing through the wheat is never a good idea. I feel like this is a very aggressive play by the 76. Like, yeah, you have 3 tanks. Like, you have this medium. It's getting repped by 2 crewmen, so it's not going to be moving for a little bit. You have this 76 just kind of, I guess, supporting this 76 pushing through the wheat field and holding the north with the coax, or, you know, at least the TC might be, you know, making sure that nothing funny's going up here. But I just feel like this is just a death play waiting to happen, especially with German AT. As 1 guy or 2 guys just laying in the wheat field and just ruin your day. I think there's an AT gun built right there. Yeah, there is an AT gun built right there. I understand you're pushing with infantry, you're trying to make plays happen, but I just feel like was just way too aggressive. Cover with smoke with Audi. I'm surprised those 2 just never saw each other the entire time a satchel was on until it blew up. Again, I think they just threw that 76 away. If I was him, just play this hedge with this medium. Because this medium can kind of just hold this right here without really being threatened, unless there's something back here. Maybe this AT gun has a... Actually, I don't think this AT got him, but either way, like, this AT gun can... medium. I think R22R has their... Yeah, AT gun goes down, or at least the crew dies off of it. I don't dislike this. I just wish it was not the commander pushing behind it. If you could just get like an SL just riding on top on the back of it, just have him push towards the hedge, have him place... Go back to the game. Oh, looks like my controller got disconnected. Oops. Alright. So if this 76 wants to push up in here, what he can do is... That's really... Have the 76 just kind of hold right here, and then have your guys place like an OP or 2 behind the 76. Just having it stay right here. Having it angled so the coax can watch up here, and having the gun so it can watch right here. And then you guys can spawn on it and slowly flood in. That's one way to push this point up here. Oops. He is doing that, but if he just pushes up here with some squad leads, it can get some more north pressure. Now, obviously, they could get satcheled, they could get AT'd from the side, and especially in the south right here. But, it's just something that you kind of have to do. Something different that you haven't thrown at them yet. Again, though, you still have never had triangle control this entire time if you're 1SBS, and R22R is doing a really good job. The players are fragging down here, and that cone has kind of stayed up. I look at the map again, it's kind of developed a little bit in the wheat field, but not really too much. Now the medium's just kind of going on a death wish. Maybe he's excited to get a 76, so he's gonna ICR it. Honestly, I would have splashed smoke if I was this medium. Unless he already blew his load shooting smoke. The 76 that was in the field. Smart defensive position. Obviously, I would like to see some rep stations there. Airhead this time in the south. Something different, but when you don't have anybody to help defend it this far deep, I just wish there was someone back here to help defend the airhead, because that's all you need, though, is just like a few guys, a guy or two, just to help defend it a little bit. Yeah, and you can see, I even show it on screen like it's I mean, it's a nice curve, no pun intended, but it's not what you want. You want that curve to start from basically the start a hard cap into triangle and kind of where the squat lead is. You know, you want, like, they gain 50 meters of ground. Just that took a very long time to gain that 50 meters. Solo Puma, might as well use it. It's available. I follow Viking for a little bit, trying to hunt some spawns and stuff. Does a good job locating that player. Now, unfortunate for him, he does not get that OP, but he does get the garrison. That is a smart play. Bottom run does come in. But, like, just a little bit of misuse of a bombing run. I think it kills no one, to be honest. Yeah, it doesn't kill a single body, so just kind of a waste of resources. And with a half hour left, you have to make those bombing runs count. Because if you're a half hour left, you realistically only get 2. I don't know if I look at resources here in a second, but the reason why I say 2, I mean, technically, mathematically, you get 3, but the reason why I say 2 is sometimes you just can't afford it because you don't have the munitions for it. You know, like this late in the game, usually when you're down this much, you don't have more than 500 munitions at a time. It's very rare that you have 500 when you're down. Court player, good job. Wipes an OP. Gets a trade. It's an okay trade. Wiped an OP in a life. That is worth a lot. Keep crawling the wheat. And it just kind of turns into a knocking your head against the door kind of situation for 1SBS. They just could not punch through the one time that they had really good cap pressure. Yep, and these 2 tigers now are going to play on these hedges. Very strong for those guys to be in because 1SPS has not gained a ton of ground. Timberwolf. Not quite sure if he had a mark on that 76 or not. But I feel like that was a time to possibly P-strike, but it's a tough call with 20 minutes left to P-strike something. But they do have 376s on the ground. Honestly, this garrison's not a bad garrison. I would like it more in the radar station just because you get more options. Because if you're spawning on this garrison, there's only really one way to go, and that's kind of no. If you spawn here, because like you're usually not going to run back. You might once or twice, but that just takes a little bit too much time. If you spawn here and push back up with ease, you can actually push straight up north, and you can go around. I don't dislike it. I would prefer by the radar station. Actually, kind of like more south, like almost in this open field by the. I'll actually show you real quick of where I like to place it on far south West Vierville. It's just like a little small thing that I like to do, and it's actually, to be completely honest, I like the place behind this half track. I don't know why, but no one will check behind this half track whatsoever for a garrison that's placed right here. I love doing that, dude. I just love doing that. No one usually gets it. No, it's very rare that someone finds that garrison back there. Unless, like, you obviously spawn on it and people see you, but... Vehicles rubber banding. Gotta love Hell Let Loose. Like, if I'm 1SBS, I'm getting to this, I'm placing satchels, like, all along this. all on these hedges. You have to know that there's rep stations consistently repping those tanks. I don't think 1SBS also used a P-strike this entire game, so I think they were always low on munitions. Because like right now is a prime time to P-strike these tanks, because you do have, I think, heavy advantage at this point. If you P-strike one and take it out, you can kind of just, you know, I think they only have 276s now? I have no idea. But, you know, if you just trade one out and have the, like, at least some sort of armor advantage going into the last 20 minutes, like, that is huge. And kind of at this point, if you are the Axis, you're kind of, you know, kind of content of just, you know, holding the midpoint. You really haven't gained too much ground. Other than the one time you got the airhead in. A good 76 kill. I think that was a 76, was it? Yeah, it was. He just did, unfortunately, not back up in time. Yeah, they do have 376s, so missed my P strikes. Missed all my P strikes this game. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Fortunate for Fred losing his OP. His name is Freddy, I don't know. Kind of a slow end to this game now. 3 MGs in the house. That's a fucking beautiful sight. Yeah, German P strikes are terrible. Why American ones are so good. But like if 1SBS, if they P strike this 76, like they can just honestly push a tank up into this field and then realistically push a tank into the wheat just to challenge this tiger. I mean, the wheat field push is kind of suicidal, to be honest. Like maybe push in this open field, but you know, you can get AT'd from anywhere, especially with no southern triangle control. And I think that was the main issue this game. And huge spawn wave in the back line. Honestly, though, if you're R22R with 15 minutes to go and you have, you know, if you see your guys doing this decent up in the front, place that airhead back there again. Make 1SPS fall back to it. Or at least make them, like, there is people back there, but, you know, try it. If you have the resources, obviously. If you don't have the resources, don't do it. Obviously, people like to use their airheads for defense for an extra, you know, quote-unquote garrison spawn. That's A-okay. But, you know, it is something to consider. Yes, getting a little bit desperate now. And honestly, if I'm 1SBS, like, this was close as fuck. Like, this was super close. Like, if this already was one second sooner, or Terrell wasn't there, like, honestly, R22R might have lost. To be completely honest. That was very, very close. Like, if you would have put the bombing run on top of the airhead, ugh, that would have been bad. Stop being scared. Use airheads. This AT player, instead of shooting the rocket onto the truck to get more XP, get the garrison. God, like, oh, that made me so mad in the moment. Like, instead of using it on the truck, Like, there's also a rep station right here and a truck that's like legit the same amount of like points. Just shoot the garrison. We're gonna watch Liberju miss all of his shots, die, but then he's gonna strafe him off the garrison because why not? Somehow you don't kill yourself with the strafing run. Insane. Yeah, 1 SBS now, fully wiped out in the north. They just have QOP. Like, if you're Phil that just died up here, you have to be yelling at your SL, be like, hey, we need an OP back there. SPS gonna rebuild the garrison in the north. Like, at this point, if you're 1 SPS, like, this is what you kind of have to do with these last two heavy tanks, is have them both between this main road. I'll show it in game. Like, if you're 1 SPS and there's, you know, about 10 minutes left in the game, you really have gotten no progress down here at all. Like, honestly, just have guys defend from right there. And then just load the fuck out of, like, put your tanks up here by these hedges. And then just full send the wheat. Like, that's honestly their best option to do, is to do that. You're just going to have to deal with these tiger tanks on point. But that's the situation that you're in. That's what you have to do to win the game. Like, you just have to make sure you don't get wrapped around by the guys coming from triangle in the middle of the map. Like, yes, you do have this nice backline play, but, you know, you can see you have some SLs that are getting into good positions. Like, this SL going to place his OP in a fantastic spot in just a second. I have no idea what dies there, but, you know, they're going to place, like, some OPs down. Like, this is a good OP that he's going to place. He does place it. Personally, I would not have placed it in that trench. I would place it in that little circle area in the trench, but hey, that's just me. Because what that does is when you have that backline pressure, it exposes the front line of R22R. You know, you do finally have this house control. This is the first time all game, nearly taken 80 plus minutes to do so, but you finally have that south control. Now is the time for those south guys, you know, just hold their position, slowly push up north. You know, slowly push up north, have these guys flood the house, kill chips, you know, get the church control, and then fucking just full send everybody through the wheat. If they do that, they have a legit chance of winning the game. Now, obviously, I don't know what their I don't know if I flashed the map again. But these guys kind of fuck up everybody's day for 1 SPS. They do get a satchel. I'm pretty sure at this point, the tanks were probably not having fun rubber banding and driving, so I think that's why they do get satcheled. Rather unfortunate, because that does happen in the last 10 minutes. You know, Kurt's up here trying to do his best. Everybody from 1 SPS, R22R kind of fully collapsing back on the hard cap in the last 6 minutes. They know it's getting real. And Sub-C is going to get a satchel too. I just don't think the tanks drove in the... I think they were in like second and third gear this entire time. Just no infantry support, which is so unfortunate because you drive in the middle of the field thinking you're not going to get satcheled, and you just get insta-popped, basically. Very unfortunate for 1 SPS. But, like, you know, there is, you know, there is pressure here. Just not winning the gunfights and then, you know, not having that armor advantage. Yeah, they have no tanks. They have recon, light, just doing what they can in the final few moments. And this game is pretty much wrapped. I don't know how the fuck this tiger died. Maybe he died by 76, but, well. Yeah, everybody's spawning out the garrison. And when that happens, The game's pretty much over at this point if you see a big spawn like that, yeah, as a viewer. Unless something drastically shifts in the game. Like, they do have another backline garrison, but pretty sure that gets shut down rather quickly. Like, if they would have combined this 10 minutes ago, I mean, they kind of did combine it 10 minutes ago. They just didn't maintain it. Like, yeah, you're just sending you're just sending the whole team in the back. Just doing what you can, because you have to get in the cap sector, like all of 1SBS back there. Using a bombing run. It just kills a rep station, and that's it. Pretty much the game. Nothing really fantastic else happens the entirety rest of the game, but just to kind of recap as this does play out in the last minute or so. I just think one thing that 1SPS should have done is use that support airhead when they did have like half cap pressure early on in the game. Just, you know, support your infantry with that airhead. It's a free 30-second spawn wave that you can mass spawn the entire team on. I think if they would have done that, they would have probably capped. Now, obviously, R22R had their own garrison that was up and running the entire time. So, you know, maybe the outcome could have been different. Maybe, you know, it's still the same with R22R still winning the game. But, you know, it is what it is. And as for R22R's sake, I think they played okay. I just think their armor pretty much did get outplayed this entire time, like this entire game. I think the R22R infantry kind of saved them as far as the armor engagements, because like if, let's say, no one from R22R, you know, snatches a tank, could have been a lot different. But that's gonna be it for this stream. I don't know if anybody has any questions of what else to touch on. I don't know how you guys feel about me going into this map. To be completely honest, I just kind of thought of it in the moment because it is a feature that we have available to use. We have admin camp quickly use on. What is your question, LaBerju? Looking at stuff real quick. Your question. Answer. We weren't happy. No one's really happy when they play hella loose, even when they win. Also, I just think 1SBS could use more MGs. Yeah. Because, like, this push really does suck for 1SBS, just pushing through this wheat. It really does. It just, this is so bad. This is so annoying. Trust me, I dealt with it 6th and Summit 3. Also, just not having this control the entire game was a huge thing. I just think 1SPS played too much in the south down here as well. But that's gonna do it for me. I really have nothing else to really say on this game. But hopefully both teams can take something out of it if they do watch it. Hopefully everybody else can as well. Of how to kind of play West Vierville. It's an allied cap, but it's very hard for each team to kind of cap at because it is a freaking grind. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm gonna go eat food because I haven't eaten all day today. Yeah, that's my stream. ANZR versus R22R on LLMA. Oh, that's gonna be awful. That is gonna be terrible. Actually, I think that's the first like NA versus OCE game ever played on a Japan server on LLMA. So that is going to be abysmal for you. I wish your connection and your sanity really good luck. But yeah, I'm going to end the stream there. I'll catch you all later. Bye.